Beautiful ignited souls, we are ready for a new creation. Ignited souls, I am Crime Queen, your partner in crime. Here we are about to commit a crime. I am going to commit a crime by breaking the law of silence in the sense that I don't often jump on the bandwagon, so to speak. I don't often find myself having or wanting to do that. But there's the big case with the R. Kelly case. Everybody knows about this, and if I know about it, everybody knows about it because I don't watch TV. Of course, social media and YouTube has enough going on. Now, this is what I want to speak on. By breaking the law of silence, I watched part of a video. Now, there's this Willie D guy that I embarked on his video, and I thought, oh, so well spoken. There's someone I can listen to. He's calm, he's handsome, he's just giving his delivery, and he seemed fine. My next video I'm watching of him, and of course it just came across because that's what YouTube do. Present you what you have, you're familiar with. And I couldn't believe my ears with this. I'm wondering, has he got any reasoning? It's like, so he's on the R. Kelly case, speaking about how sad it is that R. Kelly is ending up like this. Of course, it is sad, but there is not much sadness I felt, not much sadness being conveyed to all the people's lives that this man have ruined. When you have sexual abuse with one person in a household, you have ruined this family setting more or less. Because then you have permeated, it's like a seed that has gone in somebody's psyche on various levels, on all sensory levels. Their smell, their taste, their hearing, every sensory level has been permeated with that scene or event that had happened. This is something people don't seem to understand. Now that person's behavior or mannerisms or coping mechanism that they have to adapt to deal with those feelings or whatever feelings of shame or blame and pain, embarrassment, lack of self-esteem, and God knows the rest of it. These people tend to have, these people, including myself, this is what I've had to do. Put up a front when you're out. It's like someone was saying, oh, look at her face. Does she look like someone who has been abused? How so stupid these people could. How ridiculous. That's what you do. You put up a front. You exercise different ways of learning strategies to help you cope. You mask the pain. You mask the shame. You mask the blame. The self-blame that you've taken on. You mask it. You wear makeup. You laugh when you really want to cry. You dance when you really want to sigh. This is what happens to people who have been sexually abused. They get it all twisted. When you think they may be the ones wanting to entertain you because they need to keep their minds occupied, entertain you in the sense of being the clown, taking on that role of being the clown, of laughing, dancing, whatever it is, because they have been conditioned that way. In that conditioning, the coping strategies or mechanisms is to cover up, is to hide, is to deny. First thing, this hadn't happened. No, because you deny that it happened because you haven't got a voice. You have been told no one's going to believe you. You are not the person in power. You are not the person of power. So I have a few things I need to address to this brother, Willie D. Well, with such a name anyway, forgive me. Well, I didn't. I take it I'm being a bit sarcastic here right now, but I'm just allowing myself. Now, like the young people say, allow it, just allow it, allow it. Okay. So, he speaks about, first of all, Kelly's music is, it's really going to be sad because so many people, it's like he's made such a phenomenal. We cannot deny that the man is talented, gifted. This is how he's able to do what he's done. That's how he was able to do that. So as much as he was phenomenal at his work of art, he was also phenomenal in his work of art to do what he did and escape with it for many years. He's an artist. That's what art, that's what he's done. Art Kelly. These are, okay, in the middle of the word art. So, because I do numerology, so I think like that. And actually, I'm going to do the numerical value for R. Kelly because I didn't want to. I honestly decide not to use up a lot of my time and energies on this, but I really want to get people to understand the art of self-love. This is for waking up and smelling the reality of what is, and for us to help cultivate the art of self-love, not the art of sexual abuse, which is what obviously this man was very good at doing. Okay, so R. Kelly. So let's put it in black. Here's my black pen. For some reason, I'm not feeling so kind now to even give much life to, as in the red. Although red is danger as well. Red is blood. Red is life. Okay. So R. Kelly. R-K-E-L-L-Y. So I have done, as I said, Brother Polite actually equals 11, and Michael Nowak also equals 11. And let's look at this, R. Kelly, for instance, how this comes. Now, 9 actually means beginning. So there is someone who has a lot of creativity, you could say, but is always seeking a lot of attention. The number 9 person is like a baby being born from the womb, screaming out, out of their lungs. That's what the 9 person does. So then we have 2, 5, 3. Let's take this 3, 7. So we can see there is a similarity with this Willie man as well. It's no wonder he's sticking up for R. Kelly. He doesn't understand that, let's just have the two together. We will see. Willie, and he's Willie D. People, can we see that there is some kind of synchronicity here or correlation? They both have just initials there, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, this one is 6, but this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so we'll have 5, 9, 3, 3, 9, 5. 2 5s at the end, which I'm going to go over. And there we have, so let's stick with Kelly for now. And so we have 10, this is 20, 29. 2 plus 9, there we have it. 2 plus 9 is 11. So we are going to go over 11 because I'm actually just doing this bit of information I feel is very important, and we hadn't put this in. So I've just embarked on this video, and it's kind of actually reminded me that I could get angry because it's, yeah. And I thought, well, no, all what I have been going through, or it's like I have just learned to balance my emotions. But it's as if I needed something to get me to speak or break the law of silence, encourage you to break the law of silence. So let's look at the hair, for instance. Here we have, can we see those 3s here? 2 3s here? 2 3s here? Okay, so this is 14, this is 20. This Willie guy, we can see something really Well, with the word Willie, the name Willie, because that is end and beginning, beginning and end. This is not by chance with two threes in the middle, people. That's what a Willie does. Okay, so this is 20, that's 14, and 6, 14, 20, 29, 30, 34. 34 plus 4 is 38. So 38, 3 plus 8 is 11. This is why I love numerology. I really do love numerology because it gives you insight that you don't really necessarily pick up other places. Here we see a pattern is being formed here. If you are watching this and you have a number 11 master number in your makeup, even like 33 or even 22, I would say to be very mindful, reflective on how you're going to shape your life. It's time to really take stock of your life. Here we have, for instance, as I said, Michael Nowak is 11. Brother Polite is 11. We have 11 here. Kelly, 11. And now we have Willie D. Sticking up, yeah, Willie D sticking up. Okay, so you get my drift on this. Let's continue. I've just done a video and posted on Brother Polite because Brother Polite comes to 11. These people, it's no wonder they're such great influence because, and I do make a comparison with Jesus as well, if you like. People may not really will find it offensive, I hope not, but this is about teaching us about numerical vibrations and what the numerical vibrations hold. There are patterns, and when we learn those, then we understand the major shift. That means Willie D has great influence and power with the master number 11. Now, of course, that may not be his Christian or his real name, but that's the energy that he exuberates, and that's the energy he gives out. He is a master in his field, so he's a master influencer. But this influencer is now speaking about, what about the parents of these young ladies? Now, what I will say, I will just address the parents. Let's begin with. Often, people who have been sexually abused, and I'm not saying it has happened to the parents, but very likely that they have had a seed which is so common in our culture, our race, whatever you want to say, because sexual abuse is so ripe among people of color. Sexual abuse, the statistics in America, it could be 3 in every 4 homes or families or 3 in every 4 people who have been sexually abused, it was from someone that they knew. Someone maybe in the family, an uncle, a cousin, all of those, someone who they knew. Now, I know this, that it happens even in small islands, even so much more prevalent, that people think it's a lifestyle. They think it's acceptable. I think everyone in our community knew what my father was doing. But he was the person who he employed people. He gave them a wage. He gave them a pay packet at the end of the week. He was also a road maker. So that meant, just like Arthur Kelly, you could go to St. Lucia and drive on a road that he had constructed. That's what these artists do. They are very good at constructing, opening the roads of where they want to go. how they want to do. They are very clever. And like R. Kelly, couldn't read and write, but he was able to do all these businesses. That's what they do. So, Willie D here actually is coinciding. Here I have the evidence of what I was doing with 56, which I've got to do more on this, because here the word road actually equals 11. So this would be like a road, a rock, down. And it also means, because it's like the number 2, it also means death. It also means unity. It could be 1 was 11, which the word 11 in its glad rags, meaning the letters like ELEELEVEN equals, I think, 27, which is 9. So 9 is the beginning. So the here, you are always, of course, with 5 and 9 here, this is end and this is beginning. 59 here is very crucial at the start of someone's name. That energy here, 5 plus 9, which is also 14, meaning that he possesses a key. He is representing a key. He is end and beginning, and letting you know that there is like creativity and whatever else is happening. All these threes here as well. You have ending, he ends with a 5 here, and there starts with another 5. This is a powerful person. But however, now he too, I feel, is faced with self-reflection and all, perhaps not aware of it, and projecting all these questions out, projecting those questions and saying, what about the dancer? What about the parents? What about the friends? What about the workers? All these other people should be questioned apart from Art Kelly's behavior. Can you see what I mean? All these people must come into question, and I hope they do, whoever it needs to be as well, because according to him, which I agree, racketeering cannot really happen without somebody else enabling. That were enablers. What if he was such a good artist that he could also use same psychological conditioning on the people he worked with? What if he was able to do that as well? Now, it's not to say people were altogether naive, perhaps not, but that's the name of the game of the people he worked with or who worked with him. It was money. That's the same money talk, you know. It's like, oh, cast a blind eye and I'll give you X amount. You tip that person here and there, and you're able to use their name as being influential or part of the who knows who or whatever, the haves, and you're not no more in the have not. So these people, they perhaps have compromised their own values to help enable Kelly in his crimes of sexual assault. And you know, there was another part where this man is saying, well, if he is guilty, he is found guilty. This is what we do now. Now, it's not to say that there are people who are not sent to prison who are innocent. They may be innocent, but here, right now, he is found guilty on all these charges. People of color right now, we always comparing as well. What about Elvis Presley? He mentioned. What about Winston? What about this? What about that? Why are we comparing the extremity of someone's? Why are we comparing? And we are always talking about People have done this, people have done that, or they treat us this way, or they treat us that way. But why are we comparing? Why are we not being self sufficient in the sense of to be able to make proper judgments and take ownership of our actions or responsibility for our behaviors? Why do we feel a need to compare? What about the parents? The parents, yes, they too may be having a hard time dealing with their lack of responsibility, as it may seem, because that's what happens when things go wrong. No parent is really perfect. A lot of us do things that we think it shouldn't be done. We could have done things differently. And of course, there needs to be questioned. But the parents, the other thing is the sin, I call it a sin, the act of sexual abuse, people, works like this. The act of sexual abuse is one that, as I've said before, it permeates in all of your senses, on all levels, on your spiritual level, your physical, your mental, your emotional. It permeates, it resonates, it takes a place. It's like it's a king and it takes its precedence in your makeup. The modalities through your sense of taste, smell, what you hear, what you feel. It takes all precedence in your psyche. That's what sexual abuse does. And of course, with hearing, which I also have said, when you hear something, because the word EAR is in the middle of the word heart, it goes straight to your heart. And this is where you are told, shut up. No one's going to believe you. Who's going to believe you anyway? You may, as a young person as well, have had dreams and aspirations. Yes, I'm going to be an artist, or I'm going to be, oh, I love this person, and so on. Yes, you have developed some kind of affinity, if you like, as well. You are not without having your input or imagination, because I do believe in the law of attraction. But so much so to say that sometimes parents themselves have been sexually molested, sexually abused, sexually traumatized. They and have not realized that although they may have got the house, 2+ kids, having a good job, having the car, having everything, they may not realize that they have passed on the seed of the trauma which they have spent their lifetime pushing down, locking it in, masking it up, pressing it down. They may not have realized consciously that that's what they have been doing till that energy forms like a ball or a tumor, or whether visible or invisible. Some people develop all kinds of fibroids and all kinds of conditions, mental condition. They break down, they smoke, they drink, they self-harm, they do all kinds of things. And having other perpetrators not reading or acknowledging their behavior. See, she's wild. See how he is. See, he's stupid. You'd have all those words. Like I was 18, 19, 20, up to 23, I was hearing, you can't survive on your own, because I had come from the island of St. Lucia. And when I came here, being raped by my brother-in-law, confided in my father, being, molested by my father, then because, of course, given the story, had given him all the permission or all the loopholes or all the weaknesses, because it didn't just happen like that. It happened from I was little on the island of St. Lucia with my stepfather. So it's like you are being curtailed into a way of living, of thinking and behaving. You don't know who you are. You don't know what you are. You don't know why you're here, what you're doing. And when you'd ask yourself questions like, why am I here? At one time I thought, perhaps I'm just here to be used or abused, even if I didn't have a name or a tag for it, because it would come under the term, oh, I love you. And there would be acts of love. That's what you had been taught as love. So you would see it as acts of love. I shouldn't have a book of that, acts of love, like acts of faith, acts of love. You'd think that it was acts of love. But not only that, you have no one else to turn to, people. They become your confidant. They make you feel ashamed, afraid, and blamed. So what are you going to do? What it is important that we heal ourselves. This is why I'm doing this here, and I have been, thank you to the heavens, I have been enriched with the course, that a 5-day course, because this is the number 5, where one can apply this, administer this course, and cut the ties of what we call generational curse. This is what it's about. You cannot pass it on to other people. Another thing Willie D says, when you don't understand, and it's not just him, I heard from many people, oh, what about these people? They were 40 years. Are you telling me you were 40 and you had kids and you had this and you had that? People, just like, for instance, you could have someone come and draw all your money out of your account, which you have worked hard for. Con artists knows exactly when to find and get your weakness to do what they do, because that's their profession. R. Kelly was an artist, a con artist. Con you into having your innocence. Why are we comparing and protecting? Because that's what has permeated this society so much, and that's what annoys me more than anything else. There's always people saying, hush, hush. There's always people saying no one's going to believe you. There's always people saying you're a liar, you're a slut. Even when I had that said to me, and I was thinking, but you're the one who made me the slut. You're the one who's getting me like this, because then you don't know how to behave. Why are people talking like that? Why are you not using your energy and time and extending your empathy and love and healing vibrations and saying, okay, now we have done the operation like a surgeon, taken out that cyst, like many of us end up in hospitals having to, because we have oppressed and suppress this pain so much. People, I don't know if you've done the studies, but this is my theory. Why it is said that most black women carry fibroids and cysts, I feel that there's a strong relationship with sexual abuse and fibroids, for one. Because we are hiding, we are suppressing that pain till it forms a ball. It forms tumors. and cause you to bleed. It's that blood that needs to it gets irregulated in all kinds of ways. You are seeping because the body is still crying out for healing. Another thing is, so with parents, for instance, I'm going to continue of parents. So a parent may be sexually abused and had not done the healing. They would pass that trauma on to their children. Now, just like any other condition, your children, of course, depending on how their immunity is or genes or whatever, they may just be a carrier of that trauma, and their child act in or be subjected to sexual abuse, because that is what happens. Sometimes the person who have been sexually abused, they role play the act to make sense, to help make sense, and this is not consciously, but they help make sense of, to help make sense of this. So I knew of someone, for instance, and I know of many people, a male, who was sexually abused at the age of 4. And he said that to me by the childminder. So this goes both ways. By the childminder. But this man grew up to having loads of girlfriends. He couldn't be shot for girlfriends because he was what? Tall, dark, and handsome, and intelligent, and eloquently spoken, which is really a lot of us fall for. But he did end up doing a very serious crime against a female in that part of her anatomy, her groin, which was a real expression of saying, this is what, trying to make sense, you did this to me. I'm not sure he's understood what has happened, but this is a message. I'm saying that because he had not done any healing for that crime that was done again on the island of St. Lucia. It happens, it is so prevalent. Now, everything has a season. And this is the season in 2021, which is the year 5. That number 5 is key to unlocking all these doors. I mean, I was watching Denzel Washington with whatever his name is in, don't remember the movie now. But I thought, because I'm into numerology, and I saw he had the number 85, which is actually the death number when added together, because 8 is you have to break the 8 and to get into the 5, because, it's just, we'll go into this another time. But that comes to number 13. 13 is the death number. This is why he was unconscious on the ground for a while before he can rise again. And that is what is happening here. Now, the number 11 is very closely associated, has the same connection, if you like, with number 13, because it comes like this. 1 plus 1 is 2. And if we do 2, for instance, this is 2, 5, 6. Adding this together is 13. This is the relationship that these two have. So this is like Christ, Jesus Christ, with his 13 disciples, 12 disciples and him. And there is death. And Jesus actually equals 11. So if you want to know more about this, watch more of my videos. You will see how that comes about. Now, where I was going to show you about 1 and 1, here, the number 1 is 655, which is 16. 1 plus 6 is 7. You do this times 2 becomes 14. 7 plus 7 equals 14. 1 plus 4 is 5. This is key, K-E-Y, which is 14. And of course, 14 is just like Mother Eve. I say Mother Eve because people have not been speaking much or enough of Mother Eve, and Mother Eve is coming up now, really stinging people up the bottom. This is what it is. Eve, E-V-E. She's giving you a big smack now. Is saying, I have been calling you home, calling you home. You're not hearing now. Get that or take that. And this is what we are talking about. Now, this would be 5, just like Christ. So, Christ is the same thing. Christ coming to save mankind. It's on the same thing. So, I wanted to address more of this, but again, I want to keep the videos um, well, not too long. So the racketeering, as he says, of course, should have enablers, which I believe and I do hope that they are called and they are accountable. But one of the things, he wasn't listening to what he was saying as well. It's like, oh, he was expressing how, that's Willie D, expressing how this how people have turned their backs on Kelly and used up his money, and he had so much money and those people were only there for money, and how these people, it's like, although they realize, and he was giving examples of, you could have the house, you could have this, you could have everything, and this is on that point I stopped, and one day something can happen and everything gets taken away and your life changes forever. Well, I'm paraphrasing, but isn't that the very same thing that R. Kelly is now having to face? Isn't that the same thing? Why is he not really saying that of R. Kelly? Why is he not saying, well, it doesn't mean that because you have everything, the big house, the this, the that, and so on, that you can just do something like that and get away and think you can get away with it? But it's almost like a warning to other people. We have to be balanced in our words. So I'm getting it. When I listen to people like this, I'm beginning to think, well, what are you hiding? I'm really asking, what are you hiding? It's like you could tell when someone's hiding something. It's everybody else's fault. Everybody else should be accountable. Everybody else should have should be sued and should be this and should be that. Instead of seeing the case in question, that it was dealt with justice. And we love to compare. Oh, because we are black, because we are this, because we are that. Is it because we are that way as well that we have? Because that's the thing. I am not disputing that things are happening, but sexual abuse is such a serious crime, and it has such serious effects. Could it not be that that is the root of all our issue? If we could actually get rid of all of this or minimize it as much as possible, take that cease of sexual molestation out of our lives, out of our families, and build trust among each other, that the black woman who some perceive as God could now trust her king, or could now trust her brother, could now trust her uncle, could now trust her cousin, and be happy and share what they have with each other. Live harmoniously. That you shouldn't have to be looking, oh, you have a new boyfriend, that you really should be very mindful that you can't live in 2 minutes, in the same house, in the same space as your daughter. What are you doing with him then? If you are thinking he's likely to do something like that, then perhaps you shouldn't be with him as well. I've known, so we talk about age, for instance. Again, I'm moving that way. Age, how someone is so old and they have not Why are they talking now? Always why now? Because you have to think of, hey, I only have 2 days or 3 days or 10 days or 5 months to report this case. You have been stripped out of your voice. You have been stripped out of your self-esteem, your confidence. You have been stripped as a person, as a woman who represents the bearer of creativity. You have been stripped because with shame, blame, and pain, and all these ugly tags. You look yourself in the mirror, you are never pretty enough. You are never good enough. You are never talented enough. Because that was put in your air, that went to your heart. So, for instance, as I don't know if I mentioned, for instance, when I went on my journey of self-healing, which led me on to 2 publications, and there was a need for even more. 2 books. Trying to heal out of this disease. It's a virus, people. It is a virus. And the virus gets passed on from generation to generation when it is not healed. This is what we have to come together as a people and put a stop to this. We don't have to necessarily wake up and think, that smells like semen. You don't and even with some, when they smell it, it's like, no, it wasn't. No, it couldn't be. Or it doesn't matter. So, for instance, I know of a 92-year-old woman, well, she was 92, when she told me what her father had done to her. Performed oral sex on her, and she had not told anyone, and she was about 5-6 years old. She was a child. Can you imagine holding that for all of those years? And I know even in her talking to me, she had not realized how that had impacted on her life. But it was like the norm. So, of course, she knew it happened to her sister. It happened to another person. It happened in my family. It happened to this other person's family. It probably happened in your family. Nearly all of us know someone who is suffering right now. Please, people, stop asking those silly questions about whether he got the right treatment and comparing him to other people of similar crimes. Please, please, please. Let us wake up. Let us wake up.